evening, and welcome to night 10 of the 31 Tales for Halloween series. Tonight's tale takes us to Buenos Aires, where there is a rumored strange fruit that can grant immortality. Amongst the tales from Argentina, the one that intrigued Daniela the most was one that she came across while working on her master's thesis in anthropological studies. Her family was from Buenos Aires originally, and she felt called to study their lore as an attempt to connect with her ancestors. Naturally, Daniela knew that most folklore was mostly used for storytelling purposes and that the tales were mostly fictitious, but she also knew that at least some part of it originated from truth. She fantasized about going to her familial home, eating its food, and talking to the natives, all while searching for the truth in the myth. She dreamed of it so often that she eventually manifested her wish and was given an opportunity to go there for research purposes. If anything could make the trip better for her, it was Sam. Sam was one of her fellow researchers, and he had agreed to travel with her. Daniela doubted that Sam knew the legend as well as she did, if he knew anything at all. The origins were on the internet for anyone to find, but one had to speak Spanish in order to truly navigate the story. He confirmed this for her as they sat in the Dallas airport during their layover, mentioning to her that she would have to do all of the translating for him. Satisfied, she kept her knowledge to herself and only gave him the bare minimum amount of information to keep him intrigued. The rumor, she told him, was that if one were to eat the fruit of a particular tree at a certain time of the year, and then to fast for 6 days after consumption, that they would gain some sort of superhuman ability. He was satisfied and intrigued enough by her slight retelling that he did not ask her for any further questions. He assured her that the legend was all hers to research. He wasn't sure that he wanted to gain any superhuman ability, although he did think that gaining one sounded fascinating in theory. They laughed and joked and pondered about what a supernatural ability would do for them in their lives, while debating if they would reveal the power to anyone or if they would keep it strictly between themselves. By the time that their plane landed in Buenos Aires, Sam and Daniela were both feeling particularly in good spirits about each other, and he even let her know that the point of the trip for him was to spend more time getting to know her. Daniela was pleased that Sam was showing interest in her. She liked Sam enough, but to her, his interest in her was a tool for her to gain immortality. For what she omitted of the rumor was that in order to gain immortality, a woman would have to chew the fruit and smear the mush daily on their sexual organ and have sex with the spread on her so that a child would develop in the womb. Whoever ate the placenta would be granted immortality. Sam and Daniela made the trek through the forest and up the mountains to the site where the tree was supposed to grow. During their trek, they bonded that much more over their mutual love for history and the adrenaline rush from their many missed calls while hiking. Much to both of their surprise, they found the tree and it was bearing fruit. In their excitement, they embraced, allowing their sexual tension that had been growing to allow them to make love where they stood. If the rumors were true, then she was excited that Sam would be the father. If the rumors were not true, then she knew that she was on birth control and that it shouldn't matter. She grabbed enough fruit to perform the ritual and was able to convince a naive Sam that the yellow stickiness was natural for her. 9 months later, she had a friend pose as a doula, and when it came time for delivery, Daniela insisted on being alone and away from Sam. What came out of her room was a beautiful boy that was more beautiful than any other child that either Daniela or Solma had ever seen, which made the whole affair that much more tragic when they found out that the umbilical cord had strangled the newborn to death. Next came the placenta. The placenta filled the room with such a repugnant odor that both of the women had to cover their nose. The placenta was a ghastly green color, and it was covered with boils. Solma begged her not to eat it, but in a manic state perpetuated by the death of the child, she forced the thing into her mouth, desperate to complete the task and to not let the child's death be in vain. Solma cried for Sam, but it was too late. Daniela's body went into a violent fit, and she was dead before she ever made it to the hospital. Sam researched the case of the strange fruit in determination to discover what had happened. After confirming with Salma, he became disheartened and violently ill. He could not believe that he had allowed Daniela to eat of the fruit and that he had not realized what she was doing. His guilt tore at him as he realized his own guilt in Daniela's death until eventually he went mad.